And then I know that my good luck is really here to stay, 'cause I got lucky. Yes, I got lucky when I found you. Always walk around with all my fingers crossed.
Oh yes, guess what? I'm back already. Okay, my next guest is John Reid. Now, oh yes, hold on. Okay, so we're going to see. Hello, John.
Hello there. Hi,
How are
Steve.
you?
I'm
How are
very,
you?
very, very, very well. Very
Good
well.
man. Good man. Um, can you tell people about yourself and what you do and?
Yeah. My name is John Reid, and I'm an Elvis tribute artist. We've did this for a long, long time now, many years, and it's allowed us to travel the world.
Good. What's the farthest you've been on your travels?
United States, we perform in America 4 times a year. So we perform in different states. The biggest shows are in Memphis, obviously, during Elvis Week, where we perform. But I've performed in Fort Worth, I've performed in Dallas, both in Texas. I've performed in Sherman, that's quite far up in Texas. That's near where the great Willie Nelson belongs to.
Yeah. I tell you what, I love Elvis. I tell you what, I've had so many ETAs on here. I've had so many band members of him, friends of his, all sorts, and I just love Elvis, and I love also the tribute artists that come on. Because they do a really good job.
You'll find, Steve, that we're all just huge Elvis fans. Predominantly, we're Elvis fans. A lot of people try and read in, like, they think they're Elvis. They think there's none of us anywhere near the talent Elvis Presley had. And if we could give people joy bringing Elvis's music to them, that's why we do it. That's why we do it.
Yeah. No, I don't know if you know about me, but I'm a bit of a skeptic towards tribute artist. Right?
Yeah.
Have you heard about what?
No.
So what I'm trying to say is this. This is what I'm going to say. I always say it to everybody. I'm not being offended. I hope I don't offend you, and I hope I don't offend anybody. What I'm about to say. There are some tribute artists out there who think they're the bee's knees. Elvis. They dress up as Elvis. They got all the glasses and everything, and they act like Elvis. But there's only one Elvis.
Yeah.
Do you agree on that?
I totally agree with you, and that's just what I've said.
Yeah.
The likes at our shows, even when I'm in America, I don't talk like Elvis. I carry on my own accent.
Yeah.
And that endears you to people because you're not trying to be Elvis 24 hours a day. Once I do my show, I take my jumpsuit off and I dress in my own clothes. I don't go around, dressed as Elvis after the show, like some people do. And if that floats their boat, good luck to them.
Yeah.
But personally, myself, I dress in my own clothes when I'm not performing.
Okay. Do you also agree with me? This is the spot where I usually get into trouble. Do you also agree with me that there are some Elvis people out there who sing and they're not good?
Listen, if they want to do their tribute to Elvis, whether they sound like Elvis or not, whatever floats their boat. A lot of people, they're huge Elvis fans and they want to sing. Elvis songs, and some people they're better vocally than others. But I would never ever try and stop anybody trying to perform their tribute to the king.
Oh yeah, I totally agree.
Mm.
But there are some people out there who I feel they mock the king.
Oh, I've saw it in my travels,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
have, and we've confronted that. Yeah, I totally agree with you. But personally, myself and the Elvis tributes that I know, we're all just huge Elvis fans,
Fans, yeah,
just
yeah,
massive Elvis fans.
yeah. Um, this year you must have missed out on Porthcawl.
Yeah, it's that this would have been my 10th year at Porthcawl,
Yeah, so
and I was gutted.
I bet you were. I bet you were. I thought
Uh,
because that is quite good, isn't it? When everybody's dressed up as Elvis and
oh,
everybody's singing in different bars and the hotels are packed.
it's fantastic. There's nothing anywhere in the world like Porthcawl. Now, I've performed during Elvis Week in Memphis for the last 10 years as well. And if, if I had to choose, I'm glad I don't need to choose between the two. I would lean towards Porthcawl because the
Really?
people are there. Yeah, the people are there. They're enjoying themselves. They're having fun. And I just can't believe that 40 odd thousand people will travel to a seaside town in the
And it's,
UK
I know, and
to
it's a
listen to
small
Elvis.
place. It's a small place,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's
Yeah,
it's tiny. See, trying to get digs during the it's horrific.
I
Trying to get
know.
somewhere to stay. We're lucky. We've got a rolling booking every year because we stay in Treacle Bay and one of the statics
Oh,
because
the caravan
it's
park. Yeah,
nice
that's
and
lovely.
comfy.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and it's more spacious than a small bed and breakfast where it's just you're living out in one room. I
mm.
like doing my shows because a lot of us guys do 6, 7, 8 shows a day during the Porthcawl Festival. So it's good to get back to the static and just have a
Mm.
chill out, have a shower, and then back to the next show. But I
Yeah,
love Porthcawl. Don't get me wrong. I love Memphis as well, and I missed Memphis this year as well because of COVID.
yeah,
And this would have
yeah.
been my 10th year in Memphis as well.
That's what I was just
And
about to bring up about Memphis.
yeah,
Now, when you're singing in Memphis, it's the king and everything, and
mm.
I bet it brings out like a heartfelt moment when you're actually singing in Memphis, isn't it?
It's the first time that I was asked to perform in Memphis. It was just, I was unbelievable. And I remember I got asked to, I sing in hotels in
Mm.
Memphis during the Elvis Week, some of the big hotels, but it was down at Graceland. They've got a small stage built, or they did then, it's indoors now, but they had a small stage, the tent they call it, and it's like a model's catwalk,
All right, yeah,
just the shape of a T, like a catwalk.
yeah.
And there's hundreds of people round this outside. And I'm walking down this catwalk singing an Elvis song, and I look to my left, and there was Graceland. While I'm singing Elvis songs, and that totally blew me away. And it's a memory that will stay with me to the day I die.
Mm.
I was
Have
just,
you ever been in Graceland? Have you ever been in there?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I go there. I go there 4 or 5 times during the Elvis week, because you never know when it'll be your last year. So every time, and I'll tell you one thing about Graceland: when you go through those gates, it's silent. It's you're walking around the mansion, you just can't hear anybody talking. You go out into the meditation garden, there's nobody talking. All you can hear is birds. That's it, and crickets. It's so the people that go are so respectful that there's no chatting, no laughing. It's not a kind of theme park kind of atmosphere when you're there.
Mm.
It's just a wonderful place. And anybody that's listening that gets a chance to go, please go. It's just a wonderful place, and they've just built. Well, that's a couple of years ago. They built the museums across the road from Graceland, and it's like large, the shapes of aircraft hangars, and everything Elvis owns is on display. The jumpsuits are in perspex cubicles, so you can stand right up next to the jumpsuits and go round them, see everything,
Mm.
the back, front, the sides, everything. It's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, very. I think you're just very lucky, that you're kind of like you can do these things, and
Steve, I've been so lucky. I thank my lucky stars. Elvis has allowed myself and my family to travel the world. We do a lot of work for St Jude's Children's Hospital, myself and my wife, and a lot of the other ETAs. And we've raised nearly £100,000 now for St
well
Jude's
done.
Children's Hospital. And it's because it was one of Elvis's favourite charities. And the first year I went, I met a lovely lady that worked at St Jude's, and she arranged a tour for myself and my wife with one of the people in charge at St Jude's, and he took us round in a personal tour, because the first year we went, we took like £3,000 with us to donate if it was from some of my shows.
Mm.
And it was a small child. We got to the canteen area, the restaurant area, and Danny Thomas, that built the hospital. Danny had always said that he wanted the staff to eat with the family and the children. They had to have a separate dining room. He
Right.
wanted them to eat so as they could see who they were working with. And we went down past this canteen. There was a small girl. She must have been 2, 3, 4 years old. Ran out, and she had the bald head. She had the tube coming from her throat, but she was laughing, and her dad was chasing her. And he obviously saw how that affected me, because he turned around and he says, "That money that you brought, that's where that money's going." And myself and my wife and a lot of our friends have raised money every year ever since, for the hospital.
Brilliant. Well done. Well done for that. That is, that is really lovely to do. When you are playing, what's the best venue you played at?
Oh, that's a hard one. We played the New Daisy Theatre in Memphis. It's between two. They're both in Memphis. That I played the theatre for the Performing Arts in Memphis, a huge theatre, and it was just what a great atmosphere. But the New Daisy Theatre, it was a smaller venue, and it was just because of the big stars that had performed there before.
All right, yeah.
Before me, it was a wonderful venue. Sadly, it's no longer there. It closed down last year before. It closed. Oh, it wasn't me that closed it, of course. It was somebody else. But they were two wonderful venues.
Yeah. What's the biggest venue you ever played in?
The biggest venue would be the Performing Arts one in Memphis. I think it held so many thousand people. I played last year. I played the Grand Hall in Kilmarnock. It's near where I live in Ayrshire in Scotland. And the likes of the Who, I've played there. A lot of the big bands have played there. So I think usually when there's like a big band that come to Ayrshire, that's where they play, because it's the biggest venue. So in Scotland, the Grand Hall's the biggest place. I played the ABC when I just started out. I started out doing karaoke like most people. And the guy that owned the bar says, "Oh, you can sing a bit. If you can get a show together, I'll book you." So that's how I started. And there was a competition. It was the Daily Record, one of the national newspapers in Scotland. They did a competition, the best karaoke singer in Scotland. So you had to send a video and he's singing it, sent it in. So I got to the final and I played the ABC in Glasgow, and it was fun. It was quite fun. So I did top 10 in the kind of karaoke thing, of Championship of Scotland. But it was great. It was great fun at the time playing that big, because that was the first like big stage that I'd ever performed on.
All right.
Sitting with 3 judges like the X Factor sitting on the stage.
So do you do shows on your own then? Elvis shows on its own?
Oh yeah. I perform. Before COVID, of course, we haven't been working lately, but I perform like 3, 4 shows a week, every week. Yeah.
And are they over what? is it hundreds or thousands of people that you?
It's hundreds. It's
Hundreds,
hundreds,
is it?
unless it's one of the big festivals.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
but your bread and butter are your town halls and the likes.
right.
That's your bread and butter, because there's only so many festivals that you can do. That this year it's been. We were in Spain in March, just before COVID hit.
Yeah.
We did the Spanish Elvis Festival, and like 3 days after we got back, we went into lockdown. And that was that was the last big festival. They wanted me to go to Memphis in August, and I said no, because of COVID.
Mm,
So what we've been doing the last wee while is just the online shows.
right. Okay.
So, but yeah,
Yeah, you're very
but
good. You're very good.
thank you very much. Very, very kind.
Yeah.
Next year's calendar started filling up, so we've got bookings for Texas again, and back to Memphis in August if this vaccine
Yeah. Comes down.
comes to
Yeah.
fruition.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's the
and
most? What's the most embarrassing moment then you ever had on stage? I asked everybody this.
well,
Come on.
there's been a few. There's been a couple of times when you forget things. I remember doing a show in Ayrshire in Scotland, and I turned up with no belt, no boots. I thought my son had took them for me, and he thought that I'd lifted them because I lifted the jumpsuit, and I thought he'd lifted the boots and the thing. So it was I had to do a show with no belt, no boots, just my normal shoes, and that was really embarrassing. I fell a couple of times
Oh yeah.
as well. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. It depends where you play. If the floor's slippy and you try to get into one of those Elvis moves, you can get down with a clatter.
I was speaking to somebody the other day, and he was on stage, and he went on the trap door, and the bloke and the
Oh,
caretaker, he was looking after the kind of like the theatre. Um, Apparently, he was trying out the trap door for this magic show or something,
yeah,
and apparently they didn't think because he was underneath, they couldn't hear the music going on. Do you get me?
yeah.
Yeah. So he pressed the button for the trap door, and one of these
Oh
tribute artists went
no!
through.
Oh, I've never fell through a trap door.
Yeah,
Thank goodness.
honestly, it was it was
Mm,
because I always ask people what's their embarrassing moment, and all that.
mm, mm.
Yeah, because a lot of people do get embarrassing moments, don't they, when they're on stage?
Oh, definitely. There's a photograph going around with Prince Charles. I've been lucky enough to perform for the Royals 4 times now, and he seems to be an Elvis fan as well,
Mm.
because usually when he comes to Scotland, his residence in Scotland is a mansion called Dumfries House.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
yeah.
and usually when he has something, he asks for Elvis. Our Elvis, he calls me. I don't even know if he knows my real name, but he asked for us. So I've done like some shows for him, and I've done one for him and
What's
Camilla.
he? What's he like to talk to then?
He's so nice. It's really nice. I'll tell you one thing: Dumfries House Estate is the biggest employer in East Ayrshire in Scotland, outside the council. And Prince Charles knows every single member of his staff by first name.
Does he?
Yeah, he's such a nice man that I've not heard anybody say a bad word about him in the Dumfries House. He puts you at ease. Because the first time I met him, like I met his staff first, and they said, "Don't call him sir, just talk to him normally, like you would talk to anybody
Oh,
else." And that's what I've done ever since, and he's a fantastic man, a
oh,
fantastic man. It as I said to you, there's a photograph going around. It's not the one in my profile and my background on Facebook. There's one where, in my real clothes, in my normal clothes, when I was meeting him, and the two of us are really laughing, and everybody asks, "What were you laughing about?" And I say, "I can't tell you, but I'll tell you what we were laughing about." He was asking, we'd just finished Both Call, And he says, have you any stories from Porthcawl, like you're doing to me just now? And I says, yeah. He says, I want to know about the ladies. I says, what about the ladies? He says, do they get excited when you sing? I says, sometimes we have fun with the audience. And he says, so do they do anything silly? I says, well, really this year, it was the first year I'd been flashed in Porthcawl. And I says, this lady, she just pulled her top up. He says, and what did you think about that? I says, I thought they'd seen better days, sir. Well, the two of us burst out laughing, and I'm laughing, and he's laughing, and the royal photographer, took a picture. And he come over after, and he says, there's a moment in time. And I've got that up in my living room, and everybody that comes in asks me, what were you laughing about? Because the two of us are laughing so hard. So, yeah,
that's great to treasure, isn't it?
Oh, it's absolutely wonderful. We're doing a Christmas show online this year. It'll be live. There'll be links on my page, and it's the 11th of December. It's a Friday at 2 p.m. and we've a lot of like celebrities coming on for us. Some to give us some songs, some to give us well wishes. We've got some people from Strictly Come Dancing coming on to do a bit of dancing, and a few people from Britain's Got Talent and The Voice. So it's going to be a good show, and some of my friends that are Elvis tributes that's performed for our older people during lockdown, and all free of charge.
That's right, yeah.
They've all performed. We do a show on a Thursday in East Ayrshire Council Vibrant Communities page, and it's for all the older people, the nursing homes, the hospitals all tune in, and all the performers perform for free of charge. So really nice guys.
Well done for that. Well done for that. Have you played in anywhere? This is another question. Have you played anywhere where there are in a bad venue?
Oh yeah. A lot of venues. When you get alcohol in a venue, some of them turn out quite bad, because like I've performed a lot of like large restaurants and the likes, large clubs, and if there's a bar, there's sometimes you get the odd person that thinks they're smart, or they're out to start a fight with somebody. They never come near the stage, but it kind of ruins the atmosphere of a show. Yeah, there's been quite a few places over the years. But you try and you can learn how to cope with people like to try and diffuse any situation, just to try and have a wee laugh with them.
Yeah,
rather than but you learn wee tricks throughout the year. It's the same when you're going to, you come out into the audience and you're going to do a ballad to somebody, or that you get to learn who won't be embarrassed by you doing it, and who would like you to do it. You learn some wee tricks over the years.
Do you go to some places where, oh my God, I don't want to stay here, I don't want to,
Oh, you're the that's like everywhere else. You go to places in changing rooms. Where's my changing room? Oh, there it's there. It's a cellar. And we played one venue. I'm not going to say where it is, but I was playing. There's a fellow up here in Scotland called Christian. Now, Christian's been a big star for many years up here. And we were doing a show, and we turned up, and I'm saying, this is great, because I'm performing with like one of the biggest stars in Scotland at the time. And I says to Christian, my name's John, and we'd introduce one another, and he's saying, oh, I've heard about you. And I says, well, I've certainly heard about you. And I says, where are we getting changed? He says, through here. There was a disabled toilet. And the two of us had to get changed in this disabled toilet. And I turned around and I says to Christian, I says, show business. This is show business. He says, you'll dress a lot worse, and I have. But yeah, there's places. At the end of the day, there's some venues you've got to play them, because that's your bread and butter.
Yeah.
That's your bread. Every week can't be a theatre show or a big venue show. And again, will perform the same show, whether it's a small venue or a large venue, because the audience are paid to see you. So you've got to perform. You can't go into a stage and say, I don't really want to be here. You've got to go in and do your show. You've got to go in and do it. Yeah.
What's your favourite? Now here we go. What's your favourite Elvis song?
It's never changed. Ever changed. I discovered the Elvis singing Bridge Over Troubled Water.
Brilliant.
And it's the man's voice in that is just so powerful. It just, I think Simon Garfunkel fans will probably say that Simon Garfunkel had the best version. Elvis had the best version.
Yeah, of course he did.
Yeah. Because Paul Simon said himself when he heard Elvis singing it, that's Elvis' song now.
Yeah. That's what he said, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Do you what's the worst ever? I'm going to get you out of here.
Yeah.
You know what's coming up, don't you? There's got to be an Elvis song that you don't like singing all the time. What is it?
You've got to see that's where. No, I'll sing that. You've got to sing when you're playing clubs and that. I know a lot of the boys don't like singing "Suspicious Minds." They don't like singing "The Wonder of You." But people pay. But people pay to hear those songs.
Yeah.
So you've got to sing, because a lot of our shows, they're not pure Elvis fans. There's people that's been dragged along with their wives.
Oh yeah.
That, and they're the songs that they know. They don't know like the Kentucky Rains or things like that. And sometimes I feel you could fall into a trap of being self-indulgent to try and change the set to suit you rather than to suit the audience. But you know yourself, Elvis's set's very, very rarely changed. Elvis, he said, Suspicious Minds was always there. So it's got to be there. The Wonder of You was mainly always there.
But he never used to like singing Suspicious Minds, or did he?
I think it was Burning Love he hated. Because he didn't like Burning Love. He said it kind of stretched him a bit. But yeah, it's got to affect your students. If you're doing it like Elvis was doing it for months on end, 2 shows, maybe 3 shows a day, singing the same songs. Because I remember reading, I'm lucky enough. I've got to know a lot of people that work with Elvis over these. We're going to Memphis because we're all there together. And I've heard first hand for a few of them about certain things, and it was what I get told by a lot of them. It was Burning Love that he didn't like singing, and they had to actually talk him into recording that song, and it ended up it was one of his biggest hits.
Yeah. What's your favourite Elvis film?
It's between Blue Hawaii and GI Blues. Yeah. I love the 2 of them. And like our show, what we do, I'm lucky enough. I've got the range to do earlier Elvis stuff and movie things as well as the 70s. So I love his movie songs, the early movie songs. I love them. I love them right up to the end. And I thought it was like a travesty, the songs he was getting in the later movies. Because a lot of the songs
they were rubbish, weren't they?
They were rubbish, But see if you listen to the soundtracks, like King Creole, Blue Hawaii, GI Blues, right up to the later films, there was just so many fantastic songs, and it was just a shame how the movies ended. Even his last movie, Edge of Reality, I love that song. I love singing it as well. So it was one of the few kind of gems that was left at the end, in the movie contracts.
Yeah. When you go around singing Elvis and everything, do you ever get like women come up to you and kind of like, saying, "Oh, give me a scarf," or "Take your trousers off," or whatever.
All the time, yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
And they're out for a night out. They're out to enjoy themselves. And hey, good luck to them. We're there to perform, and we're there to create an image. And if that gives them enjoyment for the 2-3 hours the show lasts, fantastic. If they go home happy, I've done my
You've done
job.
your job, haven't you? Yeah.
And it's well, I've done my job, yeah. And the thing is now, it's the kids, because we do a lot of shows for East Ayrshire Council up here, and we do a lot of the nursing homes, residential homes, but we also do schools,
Schools.
and it's great. Schools, yeah, and it never fails to amaze me the amount of these kids that like Elvis, that love Elvis. Now, you've got 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds dancing when you're singing Elvis, and a man that died 43 years ago. Yeah, it's just,
No.
it's great.
It's music
Yeah.
lives on tonight. It's music lives
Oh,
on.
it will never end.
Yeah.
When we were there for the 40th anniversary in 2017, there was 120,000 people there for the candlelight vigil. They extended it. It was unbelievable. And it was after midnight, and it was the heat. It was like over 100 degrees, and you were standing in this queue. Usually, when you stand in line, we always do the candlelight vigil when we're there, and the line that usually you're 3 hours, 4 hours till you get from the queue to round the grave. There's that many people, but that year, 12 hours. 12 hours it took from queuing to get round the grave. Just
What did you do?
unbelievable.
What did you do in those 12 hours?
Talk to people. Oh, you get to meet so many cool people just in the queue. So the time goes past. Yeah, you get people that will come with their seats in the morning before the vigil, and they'll sit all day in their seats, so they're near the front of the queue. It's absolutely amazing during Elvis week in Memphis. Absolutely amazing.
I want to talk about Sun Records. Did you ever go there to Sun Records?
Yeah, we've been there. Yeah, we go there every year. It's very small.
Is it?
But there's something about it. There's an atmosphere there, because you get in I'll try and explain. You get in the front door. There's a kind of bar beside you there that sells the best ice cream milkshakes in the world. They're absolutely fantastic. So it's a small kind of shop area you get in, so you can buy original Sun records, but from all the other artists. Obviously, there's no Elvises in there because they're too valuable. But any like Johnny Cash, Jerry Lee Lewis, and all these, a lot of people I've never heard of, original Sun records are there, so you can buy them for $5-10, and T-shirts and the likes. And then when it's your tour time, you go upstairs in Sun Records. So they've got a lot of things, original stuff that was there for recording and the likes. But they've got a lot of things that belong to Elvis there, a lot of things that belong to Johnny Cash, Jerry Lee Lewis, and it's quite a tour. But it's a very small place, and you go for that small upstairs, back downstairs again, and then you're in the room, and there's an X in the floor where Elvis stood to sing That's All Right, and you get to hold the microphone that Elvis sang That's All Right through.
What, the actual microphone?
The actual microphone. Yeah, because it was donated to them by Sam Phillips to the museum, and it was told it had not to go behind glass or perspex. It had to be sitting out, so anybody that visited Sun Records could actually touch the real microphone that Elvis used. God. So if you go to Sun Records, you will actually stand there holding the original microphone that Elvis, the birth of rock and roll.
Brilliant. I've got a question here from Paul. Hi, John. Elvis will never die. So many youngsters enjoying his music. Did you sing on stage in Memphis?
Yeah. As I say, I perform all during Elvis Week in Memphis every year. This is the first year I've missed it because of COVID. of course. But yeah, I perform every year. I don't do competitions anymore. I used to. In 2016 was my last competition, and I finished third in Epic World Championships in Memphis. And after I got my third, I got my place. I says, I'm done. That's me done. I've finished third in the World Championships in Memphis. That's me done with them.
That's achievement, isn't it? That's a good achievement, isn't it?
Well, that year I was the only person from outside America that made the final.
Well done.
Yeah, well it was fun. It was a big kick. I was so happy, so happy.
Okay, we got some questions before we finish.
Yeah.
Have you ever met Elvis's wife?
Yes, I've met her 2 or 3 times. Yeah, she's a very, very, very nice woman. Very shy. Yeah. Very kind of timid. Is the word I'm thinking of. Yeah, we met her 2 years ago, and it was at Graceland, and I got to talk to her for like 10 seconds because she was just going along. She was shaking her hands and that. She's very, very timid, very nice, very quiet. I met Lisa Marie by chance.
Yeah, I was just ask you a question about that. What did you think about Lisa Marie and Michael Jackson getting together?
I don't know. It was a weird situation, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
A weird situation. I could see how, because she'd like failed marriages, that the both of them were kind of brought up in a limelight. You could see how they could maybe attract, because they've both been brought up in the same kind of lifestyle, like the children. Lisa, we I don't know what it would be like to have Elvis as your dad.
Can you imagine it? Can you imagine it? If Elvis was alive, what he would say to Lisa Marie about Michael Jackson?
I don't think the way.
No,
I don't think the way would have happened. I don't think it would have happened if Elvis had been alive. No, I don't. I really don't. But when I met Lisa, it was during, it was a fact that's when it was as well. It was 2017, and we'd stood in the line so long. My son started feeling kind of ill. I says, right, we'll go across to the complex and get a drink. So we went in, and Lisa was there. Her son Ben, who sadly died, was there. And the 2 girls were there, and she came over and spoke to us because there was nobody else there, because everybody else was still across the road, queued to go around the grave. So it was me and my son, and she came over and spoke to us, because I'd heard all these stories that she didn't like Elvis tributes, she didn't want her photograph taken with them and that. No, I went in there with sideburns and everything, and she came over straight away, and she was asking how we were and how long we were there for, and really, really nice. Really nice.
Yeah.
And Ben was really nice, because he went to Beale Street after, like most of us do, for a drink and that, and all the little girls were all chasing after Benjamin, because you could see the resemblance of Elvis in the boy.
Yeah.
But he had green hair at the time. He was trying everything not to look like Elvis, if you know what I mean. I don't think he wanted it, because I think people wanted him to be Elvis, and he wanted his own identity, and you could see the boys thing there. But he was a nice boy as well.
Yeah. How many times have you been to Porthcawl, and do you enjoy it?
I've been to Porthcawl 10 years now, and I love it. As I said earlier on in your interview, it's one of my favourite festivals in the world. I love Porthcawl. I love the people. I've met a lot of great friends that I still have through Porthcawl. Because I'm lucky enough, Owen Money, the radio DJ, has me in his show every year from Porthcawl. He calls me stalwart. I'm on a Sunday. I have to get up early on a Sunday morning to go and perform in BBC Radio Wales at the Owen Money show. And he's a cool man, really nice guy. And he's done programs for the BBC. He's been to Memphis and everything as well, doing programs for the BBC. And he's a cool guy. But yeah, the last 10 years I've been to Porthcawl, and hopefully many more years, because I love it.
What was it? Have you ever met Mindy Miller?
I have, yes. I have. I met Mindy. I actually met Mindy in the queue to go round the graveside. And that seemed a nice enough lady.
I thought she would have got like a VIP pass and go on quick, because not one of Elvis's girlfriends.
No, none of them. None of them get a VIP pass. There's the stepbrothers of Stanley's. They don't get VIP passes. Graceland have got the people they work with, and obviously they don't work with them. But no, they've got to queue like me or you would have to queue.
Yeah. Do you think that Elvis was, when Elvis and Priscilla broken up, do you think Elvis still had feelings for Priscilla?
Oh yeah, of course. You saw that they walked out the divorce court hand in hand. Yeah, I think Elvis had feelings for Priscilla right up to the day he died. I'll tell you one of his ex-girlfriends that I've got a lot of time for is Linda Thompson. I've met Linda quite a few times. I'll tell you a wee story about Linda. We were performing at Dallas tribute to Elvis at Southfort Ranch, where they filmed the programme Dallas. It was quite good. So we were backstage. That's when I still did competition, and I'd got to like the top 10 of this, and she was there along with her brother Sam Thompson, one of Elvis's security guys and friend of Elvis, and Charles Stone. Charles worked for the Colonel, and they were judging this competition. So Linda decided that she wanted to meet the top 10. So she come downstairs backstage, and she come through, and the stagehand, the kind of guy behind the scenes, he was a horror. It was one of those jobs worth. So Linda come through. What are you doing through here? I'm through to meet the Elvi. Well, you can't. They're just going back on stage. And she just turned around and says, I think you'll find I can. So she came and she spoke to us all, and she got a photograph taken with us. And she was that nice. She put it on her Instagram and everything. It got tens of thousands of views because of who she is. But really nice lady. So I've met her quite a few times, and you always get her the same way. Lovely woman. And she never says a bad word about Elvis. Everything's always positive. There's nothing bad comes out. Everything's always positive.
Yeah. Last question. If you met Elvis, if Elvis was alive today and you met him, what would you say to him?
Slow down. Take it easy. Take a holiday. Yeah, I've been asked that before, and I always say the same thing. I think he worked too hard. I think a lot of people blame Colonel for doing him wrong. Maybe there was faults his side. There was faults Elvis' side as well. Elvis wanted to work because, as I say, I've met a lot of the guys, and Charles worked for Colonel, worked for Elvis, and Charles said Elvis wanted to work. He was bored. He was bored. He couldn't get out. You know, but just he had to go to the movie theatres at night, shops at night. He couldn't get out, and he get bored sitting upstairs at Graceland, especially in later life. And he just loved performing. He loved his audiences. He knew he was safe on that stage, and he would phone. He said, Charles Stone told me. He says, I was there when Elvis phoned the Colonel to say, I need more shows. I need something to do. And that's what I would say to Elvis. Slow down. Just take care of yourself.
John, thank you very much for your time. Yeah, this interview's been really brilliant. You know, and it's good to kind of like have you on.
Steve, it's been my great pleasure. And anytime you want me back, I've got a lot of stories. Anytime you want me back, just you give me a wee shout. You give me a wee shout.
I was just about to say that. I'm going to get my wife to contact you now.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. As I say, my
I've,
friend, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Some of your questions are a wee tinker. You're trying to get me into trouble.
well, it's a part of my learning
No,
curve. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
Of
just,
course, of
it's
course.
just kind of like I never used to do this before because I used to have, I just had some problems in the past, and
Mm,
I'm trying to get over them. And by doing this, I've been doing this now for a while, and you know, I speak to all sorts. I speak to, actors and Elvis personators and whatever. And but I'm always straight with people. I like to get
yeah,
answers out of
yeah.
people and push my limit until someone says, Steve, let's not go there. You
You're
know
got
what I mean?
Steve. I've had an absolute ball.
Right.
Absolute ball.
Can you
Fantastic.
do me one favor? Can you,
Of
when we
course.
finish this, can you go on to my one of my pages? I will put, I will link it up with you and
Yeah.
leave me like a review or something. I'll be grateful.
Certainly. Well, if you send me a wee link to where you want me to go, I'll go in and I'll see what a great time I've had.
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
My great pleasure. Right,
Thank you.
speak to you soon.
Thank
Right,
you. Bye
bye.
bye. Bye. Oh, what a gentleman that was. John Reid. What a gentleman. And I think, the trouble is with Elvis Presley's no one can beat him what he does, he's just number one guy. Shaking Stevens and everybody else trying to take over, but there's only one Elvis Presley. And thank God that we had him and he's still alive today. Anyway, guys, see you later. Thanks, Paul, for all your questions. And until later on, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye. God bless.